Welcome to See You at the Show. This is Eric Schagt, and I am back with Linda Evans. We are excited because we're talking theater, we're talking local community theater. We are expanding our reach from CU at the show to Central Illinois at the show, and talking about a show that's going into its second week in Bloomington. It is CROWNS by Coalescence Theater. Linda, we've been waiting for this show for months, it seems.
I know, I feel like we've been talking about it so much, but we finally have the director and one of the actors to be here with us, which I'm really excited about. And this is your last weekend to see it. So you only have 3 more chances.
Yeah, we are
Um,
here with Elaine Hill, the director of CROWNS, and Dara Griffin. We have seen both of them before in Raisin in the Sun, and that was that Community Players or was that Heartland? That was
That was
Community
community
Players.
players, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I think we had the opportunity to interview you both before the show. So welcome back to See You at the Show. We love returning guests, and so let's get a little primer on CROWNS. What is CROWNS, Elaine?
Crowns is a gospel musical. The rendition that we're using is by Regina Taylor. It's an adaptation from the book by Michael Cunningham and Craig Marbury. And it's about women, African-American women in their church hats on Sunday. And those hats mean a lot more than just style. They represent a lot in the African-American community. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today.
so is this something that you personally can relate to? Do you have a lot of hats? Do you see people in hats on Sunday?
Well, Linda, I have a lot of hats, but I don't get to wear them because I'm in the choir. And as a choir member, you don't get to wear your hat. So, but this does hit me personally because of my grandmother, my mother, and my aunts and my uncle, not uncles, my aunts. I should say uncles because the men do wear their fedoras and their hats as well. And that is represented in this this play. So yes, it is personal to me. I grew up in Mississippi, and my grandmother on Sundays, they wore hats, and these were some beautiful hats, and the hats made their own statements. So yeah, kind of personal.
Great, that's great. And so where did you get the hats for this production?
I have some of my own hats in the show. I also have some hats from a lady who's passed away, who was also a historian here in Bloomington Normal, Mrs. Beard. When we did Crowns at ISU with Crossroads Theater about almost 20 years ago, all the hats on that stage were from Mrs. Beard's personal collection. And so we have some of those hats. I also have some hats from Miss Joyce Rusk, who's also a personal friend and a supporter of mine since I've been doing theater and music. Very stylish hats, very beautiful hats. So every hat that you will see portrayed in the show has some personal attachment for myself or someone that I know.
Oh, that's wonderful. I love that. And so could you tell us a little bit about, I know Yolanda is one of the main character or a big character, and she's a 17-year-old who has something tragic happening to her, and so she has to make a big move, right?
Correct. And we do have Dara here, and she'll be able to explain a little bit more, but this character is a young lady who ends up going to North Carolina to be, or North or South North Carolina to be with her grandmother. And it's after a tragic event, which was her brother was killed. So Dara just brings to life this character Yolanda in her sweet and innocent way, yet she wants to understand this history. And I'm going to let Dara talk a little bit about Miss Yolanda.
Hi, thank you. Again, my name is Dara Griffin, and I'm really excited to be back on the show today. Yeah, being Yolanda has been a good journey, especially after doing Beneatha and A Raisin in the Sun a couple months ago, because Yolanda's also she's just going through a very different time in her life. She just lost her brother, who is her best friend, and on top of that, now she's being, shipped off down south for, who knows how long, away from, her other friends and everything she knows, to go stay with her grandmother and these women who just want to talk about their hats. And so it's just like, I was also raised in the church, and my grandmother loved to wear hats. We still have a lot of her hats at our house today. And Miss Elaine actually mentioned when they did Crowns the last time at ISU, I did see that production. I was very, very little when I saw it, but I remember seeing that production and I loved it. It definitely was something that was instrumental in getting me into the theater.
Yeah. Yeah.
But oh yes, sorry. Excuse me, allergies. But yeah, Yolanda is just going through this journey with these women. You know, at first she's just like not really interested at all. Like, you know, why are you telling me this? Like, this is not at all, you know, pertinent to what I'm going through. And then she slowly starts to see, you know, we wear hats for this, we wear hats for that, whether it's happy or sad, whether we're going to praise the Lord or, you know, we're just going to work. We cover our heads for various reasons. And just, I mean, being able to relate to Yolanda, I learned a lot about our history working on this show as well. So it's really exciting to be able to see it brought to life with my fellow castmates, with these women who have taught me so much, and get to be a part of telling our history to the audience.
So why is the show called Crowns instead of Hats? Are there other sort of like plays on royalty, regality that have to do with this as to why
No,
that's the
can
name?
let me answer that question, Eric. No, it has to do with our ancestry. It has to go back to that we actually came from kings and queens. And one of the things about wearing a hat is that it shows that you have this sense of pride about who you are. And so when you go back to how we got to the country, most of us, or from some of the islands as well, into slavery, we didn't have a lot of money. So that comes out as well. These women saw other women wearing beautiful hats, and they were in stores where they were not able to purchase them. And then there came a time when, during the civil rights movement, we bring that in and kind of knit that into this tapestry of artistry. And it talks about how it wasn't until one of the characters even say it took the civil rights movement to get those hats off our head, when we were actually marching and trying to get some states of equality. The other part of that, and when it talks about crowns, is that, you know, you're a king, you're a queen, so you carry yourself accordingly. You want to look your best. You want to, you know, exude your best, be the best person that you can be. And so it has that as well. There is so much about the ancestry history of each character, and they tell you about it. One is she's the wife of a preacher, so she's worn hats for years, and she lets you know she has worn hats for years. She tells you how to wear a hat. Don't touch the hat. No, don't do this to the hat. Then you have another lady that she is one of the characters is a funeral director. And for the first time, someone comes to her and says that this lady, the mother, I think the daughter, and she says that my mother wore hats all the time. Is it possible for her to wear a hat in her casket? And the lady goes, sure, we can do that. But she had never done it before. But once she did it, everyone saw it, and it just caught on. And then she just started wearing these really funky hats all the time. So there are all these different characters. And then the character that Yolanda goes to stay with, which is Mother Shaw, she goes back and she expresses to her how, you know, how she started buying hats. And when she got another job, she made more money. She bought more hats. She bought so many hats that they started to fill the house. And so the husband said there was practically no room for him in there anymore. So each story has its own value to it. And they're explaining these things to Yolanda, who doesn't, you know, really get this thing about hats. And eventually she puts the pieces together for herself. And she realizes, you know, our crowns, you know, they are what we wear, and how and what our crowns look like is our choice. So that's what it is to me anyway.
The really cool thing about this show and just how the script itself is written is that it's not like there is a linear plot, of course, but there are so many cool things that happen in each scene. Each scene is its own thing. And Miss Elaine can definitely, attest to this. We have the opening where you meet Yolanda, and then we immediately transition to the South, and you hear a beautiful opening number that I cannot, wait for audiences to hear this weekend, because it's truly amazing. I might be a little biased, but um, it's, and then we have like your morning service church scene. So especially anyone who goes to any sort of religious ceremony, but especially like, a Baptist church or a Southern Baptist church, they can relate to how we are when we're in the spirit and when we're in church. And so you'll see a scene where we're in church and you have a few different women say, oh, this is what my church was like. So everyone, including, myself as an actor, I break away from Yolanda and I get to be a part of that church for a second. And then I get to come back to Yolanda. And then another woman gets to talk and she gets to share her experience about church, or her experiences with hats during funerals, or her experiences with hats during a wedding, or just how hats help them connect with an important loved one in their life. And it's just really interesting how, the playwright chose to like let the actors have fun with that and pop in and out of different characters. But I think that audiences will also really, enjoy that dynamic of the show as well.
I mean, the whole thing sounds amazing, and the music, we've already listened to a bunch of it, and so I just can't wait. But can we tell our listeners, is this an uplifting show? Are we going to cry? Is it a little bit of everything? What should we expect?
Thanks, Linda. Yeah, it is a little bit of everything, because in life, we have our ups, we have our downs, we have our happiness, we have our sadness, and all of those things are addressed the way this is knitted together. We do love the way Regina Taylor added the new music, a little bit of hip hop. It started there, and then we go back, and we even go all the way back to even a little bit of a work song. So we have a little bit of a musical history, as well as telling our history of, from our ancestors, of wearing our crowns and what they mean to us. All the way, as I stated, up to hip hop today. And why maybe a lot of people don't wear hats, but then you find, we're finding at the end of the shows that people are loving these hats and they're wanting to wear them. So yeah, that's kind of exciting too.
Oh, that's great. I love that.
So when you gave credit at the beginning for the book, was that two men's names that actually wrote
Yes,
the
which
book?
is, oh, Eric, which is so fascinating to me, because I have 4 brothers, and I just love how these gentlemen took the time to interview these women, starting with their, they had such a fancy with their own moms in their own lives, going to church with them and seeing them wear hats, and how they would dress in the morning and how important it was. And then when they went to church, there were all these other women. So what they did was, for their love and in memory of their own moms, they came up with this idea to do this book, a photojournalist and a journalist, and they decided to get quotes from these women. So believe it or not, this entire play are quotes from different women that they actually interviewed in their book.
Oh, that's
It's
brilliant.
really, it's just so fascinating. And I think when I was directing, and Derek can attest to this, I just kept saying, you got to stick to their words, because these were their words. And then I even brought in the book so we could see and get an idea of who these women were and the hats that they actually wore. And I think Dara and I talked about this even in Raisin. We were just talking. I was telling her, I have this idea. I really want to do it. It's been 3 years I've been talking about it. And she was saying, that's funny, because I actually have a calendar. I think, was it your mother or your aunt that gave it to you?
My mother, we have the calendar on our wall. My grandmother had it.
Yeah.
And it's been on our wall ever since she died. So it's also been a really big part of my family as well.
Yeah. So she has a calendar of some of these photographs in there with some of the quotes from these women. And it just made it so real, so they can understand these were real people that really still live today, some of them. And they got to see that these were professionals. They come from all walks of life. Hats cost anywhere from a few dollars to hundreds of dollars, because of the intricacy of how they want to look and be displayed. And But yeah, these two men, they did it with, it was truly, and they even say it was a labor of love, and they dedicated to all the women who wear hats.
So even though it might have been their pen putting the work on paper, it was the voices of women that dominate the message here.
Absolutely. Every last one. I mean, the book is just awesome. So when you guys come Saturday, I'll bring it with me. I just want to see you, show you a little bit of what, you know, some of my research was based on. But yeah, it's just beautiful. It's really beautiful. And then Regina Taylor takes it and she puts that little spin on it and adds the music is the, oh, it's just, I can't even put into words how excited I am now. I see the vision and it's live and it's on stage, and these actors are actually bringing everything to life. It's really beautiful.
Could you tell us a little bit about the venue? Like where are you, and where is it?
Yeah, I'll be happy to. The play is being performed at the Normal Community Activity Center, which is at 1110 North Douglas Street in North Normal. This facility is set up, it does have a stage, but it's not set up for a theater per se. There's no sound. We have to bring all that in. We have to add lights. Originally, we were supposed to be outside in the Connelly outdoor amphitheater. That got changed to being indoors to the Normal Community Activity Center. And so we've adjusted. It's been a learning process, getting the sound, the light, trying to get a feel for it, making this feel like a real theater, and you're really there. Once you come in, we try and grab you, and I think we do. And then you just go with us on this ride. And then when you leave, you're going to want to buy a hat. I'm just telling you, Linda. You're gonna wanna buy a hat.
I love that.
And so I have a pretty strong hat game myself. So
Oh, cool,
if
Eric.
if I wear one of my little derbies or something on Sunday, is that going to get me anything?
Oh, yes. So here's the thing. If you wear a hat on Sunday, it's our last show, you'll get a $5 discount.
Nice. All
No matter
right.
what, no matter what, you get a $5 discount. And we just want to say thank you so much. And it's our way of letting our guests know how much we appreciate them coming and buying into wearing their own crowns, you know?
Right. So how many people can the Normal Community Center hold?
Right now it's set up to hold, I think it's 120 people.
Okay.
Yeah. The way they have the seating in there, the room is kind of chilly. Bring something for your arms if you get cold.
Good to know.
Yeah. But the facility has been so welcoming and so warm. They've allowed us to come in and rehearse. They know that they weren't set up for to be a theater, but it's the space that they had to offer us. And they've done everything in their power to work with us to make it work. And I appreciate our music staff and our lighting staff for that reason, because I tell you, the sound, the music, when you come on Saturday, you can let me know for yourself if you could feel and be right there with us in these songs and as we go from scene to scene.
So Elaine, what is the hat etiquette here? If I go down and I sit in the 4th row and then somebody comes in the 3rd row and they have some big old hat with fruit hanging off of it and giant flowers, and I can't see the stage, is it okay to like tap on the shoulder and say,
you might want to say,
I love your crown, but you know?
But I cannot see. You might have to do that, Eric.
I just
there is one of the characters, one of her lines is, that she loves a hat and she calls it a hit your hat, honey. She wants it to have everything on it, with everything you can think of. And there is a little reference to women who wear those hats, you know, with the feathers and everything on it that maybe people cannot see. However, I know that if you are a hat king or a hat queen, you can look around and you can find your way to view that stage. And I'm sure if it's that big, Eric, I'm sure they'll win.
Yeah. Okay. I found myself like at basketball games before where somebody would wear like a big old cowboy, like a foam cowboy hat. And that's just not all right. But
yeah, I thought about
anyway.
that, Eric. And I thought about maybe on Sunday. Okay, so oh my God, we said people could wear hats. What kind of hats will we see? Well, we're just gonna find out on Sunday.
That's right.
I'm very excited.
Those are good problems to have if people are mad because they can't see the action on the stage. We can always make that work.
Okay.
So the time is the Friday the 26th, Saturday, the
Yes,
27th, they're both at 7 p.m.,
at
correct?
7 p.m. And then on Sunday, the 28th, it's at 5 p.m.
5
Have
p.m.
have you had a talk back for any of these, or have you thought about that?
No, we have not had a talk back. I don't know if Sunday would allow us to do so. We'll look into that on Sunday because I have a little something different that's going to happen on Sunday. So you never know. Why don't you, well, you won't be there Sunday. I'll just have to tell you what happens. I can't give it away right now.
No, if there have been plenty of shows, and Linda can say this, when we see it once, I'm just like, we're seeing this again. There's just no, I don't care what sort of reservations we have the next night. So maybe this will be one of those shows,
I
and you
hope
will just
so.
have to deal with us twice.
I hope so. We would love it, right, Dara?
Yes, we would. Join us. Wear
Yes.
multiple hats. We need to see all of the hats in your collection.
That's
Oh
right.
yeah. But all three of my kids have done theater, and they all three have so many hats that I had to get rid of a bunch when I moved. I mean, they love going to, antique stores or something
Yes.
and
Mhm.
finding
Me too.
hats. And we used to have a hat store for like about 5 years. We had a really nice hat store in Champaign, but unfortunately, at least in Champaign-Urbana, we don't really have nice hat stores. Do you have a hat store in Bloomington Normal that people can go?
No, we don't, but
Oh,
there are
okay.
several down in the Decatur area.
Oh, okay.
You know what? There is one shop that does carry a few different hats, but not like we are used to, Linda, where you just walk in the entire store is
Right.
just filled with all these beautiful hats. But I tell you, when I went to get some hats from Mrs. Beard's daughter, I felt like I was in a hat store. There were so many boxes. Oh my God, you guys, she has over 200 hats.
Oh my
It
goodness.
it was amazing just to walk through and decide on what things I was going to use for the show with her daughter, and just remembering how sweet this lady was, because this was someone, Mrs. Beard was. She was someone that kind of mentored me also in college. She kind of encouraged me to be a girly girl. She loved that. And so that was it was like my mom had somebody sitting on my shoulder in college. I'm like, okay, this lady just done took over. Okay, I love it. Looking like the little young lady that your mother raised you to be. That was really important to her. And so it's very, very special to have some of her hats on stage. And those hats also, they are spoken for by family members. So as soon as the show's over, we have to get them back so they can go to her
Right.
different family members. And I think that's so awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Linda and I fell in love with Coalescence back in the summer of 2020 when we were trying to raise awareness about the lack of Black presence in particular in our
Yeah.
community theater. And then we found out Coalescence has been doing this long before 2020.
Yeah.
And the mission statement right on their webpage is, our mission is to utilize theater to understand, acknowledge, and dismantle all forms of systematic oppression as we explore identity and our place in a global community. That
That's
is just
us.
one hell of a sentence.
Yes, and that is
Um,
us. That's who we
and-
are. And that's why, even though it's taken me several years to get this play out with all the other things that we've been doing, it was so important that we did this particular play. And I think the timing is perfect.
What has your crowd been like in terms of like demographics and
Oh,
racial breakdown?
Eric, we have been so blessed, and I want
Oh
Dara
my
to chime
gosh.
in as well, because I have a high school student that's been I've been mentoring as well. So we've had a very diverse audience. We
Mhm.
have had, yeah, that's all I can say. Very diverse. And I'm so grateful for that, because I have a very diverse life. So this is a very diverse planet. So I'm excited that people are embracing Coalescence in this way, and that they're coming and supporting this particular show, even though it's based on the African-American woman and her experience and her attire and wearing to church. Everybody that has come has found something that they can identify with. And I just love that so much.
Mhm.
Dara, what do you think about the people, the attendance, and what you've noticed of the crowd?
Yeah, I agree. I would say that they have been incredibly diverse audiences. And I was genuinely surprised, I guess, when I first got out there, because one thing about this venue is that we're very up close and personal with the audience. So you know, as I just kind of like am looking out, I can see like the breakdown, and you have people who, you know, they'll be more familiar with one gospel song, probably because it's one song that's more commonly sung in Baptist churches. And then there's other songs like I'm trying to think of one in particular. Take My Life and Let It Be was originally in our script, as well as another song called Marching to Zion that I had never heard of before. But another woman in the cast who grew up in a Lutheran church, she was more familiar with those hymns.
Mhm.
So, you know, just seeing, you know, different people from different walks of life, the parts that they're relating to, the songs that they already know the words to, um, and the jokes that they hear. Like if we make a joke about the fans that we use in church service, when you hear the description of those fans, depending on how you grew up, you will just burst out laughing or just kind of be like, oh, okay, well, maybe next time, you know. But there really is something for everyone, and everyone is just so, it's amazing to see how live theater and just how live performance brings people together, and just shows that we're all a lot more similar than the world or media or whoever tries to make us believe. And that's another really great thing about Coalescence, kind of tying it back in, is that this is actually my third, I think my third or fourth show with Coalescence. This is my fourth show with Coalescence, excuse me. And I've been so fortunate to be able to work with them, because we're also, they tend to do like smaller shows, like shows with smaller casts, which I think is great, because it also just gives us more time to really build strong bonds and strong relationships, and just be that much better storytellers, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm just really honored that Don and Elaine um, gave me this opportunity to tell our stories, because I feel like I always just learned so much whenever I'm doing a production with them, because they're not the things that you would typically be getting from, you know, your high school, community theater, college theater departments. And as a current acting student, it's nice to be able to have the opportunity and the privilege to be exposed to several different types of theater while I still have the opportunity to learn, you know?
Right. Yes. Yeah. So when do you graduate?
I will be graduating this spring of 2023. So
Yay.
I'm actually getting ready to, I start classes next Monday, and we have our fall auditions this weekend, actually. So as soon as this interview is over, I'm going to get back to running my monologues, running my song, and just making sure that I have everything in order so I can, you know, sing for my professors on Saturday morning and sing for a wonderful audience on Saturday evening with my lovely castmates.
Well, great, great. Well, we wish you all the best with both, with school
Yes.
Thank you
and
so
this
much.
production. And it's so wonderful to have you both back. And I hope when you graduate that it won't be the last we see of you.
No, that's what
Yeah.
I said. I said when she's on Broadway, we'll.
Yeah, I think
We'll
we're gonna have to, Linda, I think we're gonna have to travel.
Right,
yes,
right,
You
Thank
can't expect a
you.
talent like that to be all bottled up in
right.
Central.
No, I don't
that's
expect you to
right.
stay in this area, but hopefully you'll stay in touch so you can,
That's it.
Oh,
That's
I
it.
definitely
Exactly.
will. Thank you so much.
yeah.
So Linda and I are kind of like free agents in terms of religion and attending church. But one thing we thought about a lot and haven't done is gone to a Baptist church or a predominantly Black church. And is there a feeling that we'll come away from after seeing this like we had attended a service
You
of that
know what?
nature?
I just saw a comment from a guest that came to a production on
Mhm.
was it Saturday or Sunday? I don't remember when Joe came, but
I
anyway,
I
he said
believe it
he
was
went.
Sunday.
Yeah, he said you're gonna feel like you went to church. So come on out, come on and go to church with me, Eric.
Well, it's
I
so
know.
funny. A few years ago, I was all nervous, and I was saying, I went up to a friend of mine. I said, "So, if I wanted to go to like a Baptist church or a predominantly Black church, what should I do?" And he just looked at
Mhm.
me with a crazy look on his face, and he said, "You find out what time the service starts, and you go."
Go in.
And
Right.
I was like all nervous, like what I have to do, and I just have to go.
Well,
Yeah,
I,
you know what? I understand that though, because we my church directly down the street there is oh my God. I want to give it away, but anyway, there's another church. and we have started fellowshipping together. And during the summer, I think it was every Wednesday, they did like a potluck, and we would go down there and we would, fellowship, because we're in the same community, right?
Right.
It has been so wonderful, Eric. And come to find out, some of my best friends, actually, the entire family attend that church. And I did not know until one of them passed away. And I actually went there and I met Pastor Mark, and he was just so personable and inviting. And come to find out, he and my pastor have been talking about, we're here in the same neighborhood. These are the same people. We need to get along and do things together. And they've been doing things all summer together. It's been the best ever. I think that's how the world needs to be.
This is really inspiring. And so, Elaine and Dara, thank you so much. And Coalescence, we're really excited to help promote CROWNS. We will be there Saturday. And thank you for joining us on See You at the Show. This has been a wonderful time with you.
It has. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you so much here at Coalescence Theater Project.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. See you Saturday.
All right.